good, but that if he lived, that he would be like an 8-year-old baby, that he would not know how to walk or talk or to eat. I was so desperate that that was okay. I would take that just to have him. He was all that I had.
When a young boy named Landon was in a tragic car accident, his heart stopped, and he says he was taken to heaven. After doctors resuscitated him, Landon returned with a message that he believes Jesus asked him to share with the world, and he feels it's something everyone needs to hear before it's too late. But what exactly did Landon see in the realms beyond? Who else did he meet? In this video, we'll explore the amazing story of Landon's experience in the afterlife and the profound revelations he brought back with him. Before we dive deeper, please consider subscribing to our channel and hitting the notification bell. Your support helps us continue to bring you these powerful stories. Thank you. Now let's return to Landon's incredible journey. On October 19th, 1997, Landon Whitley was in the back seat of his family's car, riding home from church with his mom and dad. What began as a routine Sunday quickly turned into a nightmare. I didn't see what he was yelling at. I didn't see the ambulance coming, but I remember him yelling. That was the last thing I heard from him. Landon's mother, Julie Kemp, later recalled in an interview with Fox News. The he she spoke of was her husband, Andy, who, in his final moments, tried to alert his family to the danger. An ambulance, rushing back to its station, crashed into their car at an intersection, completely changing their lives. Landon, only 8 years old, was sitting behind his father when the ambulance T-boned their vehicle. The impact was so severe that his father, Andy, was killed instantly. Emergency responders arrived at the scene and worked quickly to stabilize Julie. In the chaos, they didn't realize that Landon was still in the car. Due to the extensive damage to the driver's side, where Landon had been sitting, his small body was hidden from sight. They couldn't see his body because of the damage that was done to the driver's side of the car, and Landon was sitting behind his dad. Julie later explained. It wasn't until one of the rescuers spotted a small shoe, Landon's, that they realized a child was in the wreckage. With newfound urgency, they searched for him and finally pulled him from the mangled vehicle. His condition was dire, and doctors raced against time to save him. During this critical moment, while medical teams fought to bring him back, Landon says something remarkable happened. He believes he was taken to heaven. In those moments between life and death, Landon says he had an extraordinary encounter, one that left him with a profound message that he believes Jesus wants him to share with the world, one he feels must be heard before it's too late. After rescuers finally found Landon in the wreckage, they quickly realized the situation was critical. He wasn't breathing. Immediate resuscitation efforts began at the scene, and once stabilized, Landon was airlifted to the nearest hospital. That day, Landon died 2 more times, and each time, doctors brought him back. But despite their best efforts, his survival seemed uncertain, and even if he lived, his future was bleak. They told me that if he lived, which did not look good, but that if he lived, he would be like an 8-year-old baby, his mother Julie recalled. He would not know how to walk or talk or even eat because of all the brain damage. The outlook was devastating, but Julie's love for her son was so strong that she was willing to accept any outcome. I was so desperate that that was okay. I would take that just to have him. He was all that I had.
Told me that if he lived, which did not look good, but that if he lived, that he would be like an 8-year-old baby, that he would not know how to walk or talk or to eat. I was so desperate that that was okay. I would take that just to have him. He was all that I had.
As Landon clung to life, Julie faced an unbearable reality. She had to bury her husband while praying for a miracle to save her son. At Andy's funeral, the emotional weight of it all became overwhelming, and Julie found herself questioning God. I was very disappointed, heartbroken, and when I'm sitting at the funeral, I'm fussing at God. I don't understand why this happened. I don't understand why he didn't send angels to protect us. In her grief, Julie felt abandoned by the very God she had always trusted. But in that same breath of confusion and sorrow, she found herself praying with every ounce of strength she had left. I'm praying as hard to him as I've ever prayed in my life for Landon to live. Landon Whitley had suffered severe head trauma in the accident, and doctors kept him alive with machines as he lay in a coma. Julie prayed day and night for a miracle, and after 2 long weeks, that prayer was answered. Landon opened his eyes. To the astonishment of the medical staff and his family, Landon didn't suffer any brain damage, despite the severity of the trauma he had endured. It was nothing short of a miracle. The joy and relief were overwhelming, but as the celebrations continued, Julie realized she had to face a heartbreaking task, telling her son that his father was gone. He had scars on his face, and his head was just full of hurt. And I didn't want to hurt him anymore, Julie recalled, describing the delicate situation. Unsure of how to break the news, she gently asked Landon, "Landon, do you know where your dad is at?" To her surprise, Landon calmly responded, "Yes, I know where he's at. I saw him in heaven." Julie was stunned, but Landon wasn't finished. He went on to describe not only seeing his father, but also encountering family friends who had passed away, and even siblings he had never known about. He looked over to me and said, "Oh, Mom, by the way, I forgot to tell you, I saw your other 2 kids," Julie recalled. Confused, she asked him what he meant. Then, in a moment that shook her to the core, Landon explained that he had seen the 2 children she had lost to miscarriages before he was born. Julie was in shock. We had never shared that with Landon. He did not know that we had lost 2 children before him, she said. Yet, somehow, Landon had met the siblings he never knew existed, and he had seen them in heaven. Landon's story was nothing short of miraculous, and it filled Julie with awe. Her son had returned from the brink of death with visions of heaven and encounters that could not be explained by anything earthly. Decades after the tragic accident, Landon Whitley is still sharing the message he says Jesus gave him during his time in heaven. Reflecting on the encounters he had, Landon explained, "I knew that they were my siblings even though no one had ever told me about them. Just being in heaven, I guess you know. You know your own, or you know who everyone is." Each time he passed away and came back, Landon says his experiences in heaven were different. But it was during his 3rd visit that he had the most profound encounter. He met Jesus himself. "Jesus came to me and told me that I have to go back to earth, be a good Christian, and tell others about him," Landon shared. "His mission was clear and it became his life's purpose. I just want people to realize that Jesus is real. There is a heaven, there are angels, and to follow his word and the Bible because life does get better at the end." Now, following the command Jesus gave him that day, Landon and his mother Julie work together to share their story and offer hope to those struggling with grief and loss. Their message is one of faith, resilience, and the assurance of God's presence. "I know I'm doing it for Jesus," Landon said. "I know that he's real. I know that angels are there. I know that there's a heaven. I've seen Jesus. I know he's there. He's asked me to do this, and this is what I'm doing." Julie, too, has found healing in their shared mission. "I didn't understand in 1997 why God didn't send an angel, but now I know that there were angels there. I know that we were protected and that we are living out His plan for us, she reflected. Instead of staying stuck in grief or anger, Julie has found peace by using their story to inspire others not to give up and to keep faith alive, even in the darkest times. It is a huge blessing that I get to watch my child tell others about Jesus, Julie added. He is always willing to let others know that there is a heaven, because he's been there. Landon's journey is a reminder that even in our darkest moments, hope and purpose can emerge. His message is clear. Heaven is real, Jesus is real, and our time on earth has meaning beyond what we can see. If Landon's story has touched you, know that you are not alone. No matter the struggles you face, there is a greater plan unfolding. As we reflect on his miraculous survival and mission, let's take his words to heart. Life may be difficult, but if we hold on to faith and follow God's word, there's a better future waiting for us beyond this world. Thank you for joining us in this extraordinary journey. Remember to keep hope alive, trust in the promises of heaven, and never stop sharing the light of Jesus with others.